In the sense that, I hear this phrase a lot. Nigeria is a mere geographic expression as an excuse for our failings and of our failure. And I reject it. That phrase is often ascribed to Obafemi Awolowo. It's not true. It actually is Frederick Lugard who said it first in 1919. But every country is a geographic expression. Every country is an artificial construct. So why don't they have that excuse? We are an artificial construct because we are a country. We can't, there's no country that has borders that are natural and homogeneous. You get on with it. Okay? Now, but the difference is when this construct was designed, it was fit for a purpose. When it was handed over, they didn't tinker with it to be fit for our purpose. And as the white colonial officers were leaving, we were replacing them with black colonial officers, Nigerian colonial officers, in the sense that our so-called nationalists, the politicians who took over, had exactly the same mindset of extraction. They had the same mindset of oppression, of ruling, not governing. And that model was supposed to change with, I'm not going to be bashful about it, with my generation. But it seems that Nigeria has skipped my generation, and the generation before us wants to die there. And then the people coming behind us, those guys, they don't take prisoners. The guys behind us, they never saw the Nigeria that worked. So unless something happens and we break this cycle, and you get the people who not only have the qualification, have the world experience, but have both into running this country, which never happened before. So it was the design for the fitness. If you look at the railways alone, look at the railways that were built by the British. They were all built to go to a port. People travel on the railway. It was just a coincidence. It was a byproduct of it. The railway was to take produce out of the country. You understand? And till today, you have ministers that have orderlies. Why does a Nigerian minister need an orderly to go to his hometown? The orderly thing was created by the British because whenever he moved around, he was moving among foreigners. We still have 6 weeks annual leave. Why do we have 6 weeks annual leave in Nigeria? 6 weeks was 2 weeks on the mail boat to England, 2 weeks in England, and 2 weeks on the mail boat back. That's what it was. We haven't been able to redesign this thing to make it work for this purpose, our purpose. And to blame the British, they're not nice people. The colonial people were not nice people. They're killed and maimed to suit themselves. They understood this thing. They understood this. They perfected it in India. You know, till today, every time there's a Muslim festival, the emirs have a durbar. Do you know what a durbar is? It comes from India, where by the time the British had dealt with the Indian population, the Rajas were the people who they dealt with first. So on a given festival day, the British officer would sit on top of a podium, and the Raj would come and pay obeisance. And that was what a durbar was. It was a show of might. It was to demonstrate to the rank and file that even your king gives obeisance to me. And today, and it was brought to Nigeria, where the DO would sit down, the resident would sit down, the DO would be next to him, and the emir would give obeisance. So the emir is the new colonial officer, and it's done till today, So I don't think, we've got to try and wash out the things. There are countries that have as many different approaches and as many different people that we do. I don't believe we have 250 ethnic tribes in this country. It's just not possible. Because I can't see, if you're counting Ekiti and Ondo as two different ethnic tribes, and then maybe there's a problem with the definition of ethnic. Because there's nothing ethnically different between an Ondo man and an Ekiti man. They might have a different dialect of their language, but that doesn't define and do it. So we have created a narrative of our disunity by emphasizing our differences. You heard Lord Milverton say that his motto for Nigeria was unity in diversity. This was 1960. We seem to find our diversity as our problem, and we keep repeating it to ourselves. We've convinced ourselves that there are 350 different tribes. We've convinced ourselves that we can never be united. And a country is an idea. Nigeria was an idea. Every country is an idea, and it's kept together by big ideas. What's the reason that we are together? You know, United Kingdom, Great Britain, it was called in those days. The United Kingdom is a relatively recent phrase. Great Britain was kept together because they were afraid of these people who came from the mainland to attack them every 50 years. And that was the big idea. They're having challenges now because they've got to redefine what's the idea. America's an idea. Nigeria was an idea. But we've got to make ourselves believe that the idea is one that we want to stay together. We don't have to stay together, but if we're going to stay together, it's a big idea that causes it. And those are the things that's why there's friction now in trying to define what that idea is. What is our own social justice? What is the equality and equity that we're looking for?
I think you're in trouble now, Mr. Osmo.
Well, I've heard the arguments, and it's good that they're all lawyers. And Shupo will be excused.
The critical events that manifested afterwards, such as the rigging of the independence elections, which I deal with directly in the book. And this is not a matter of supposition. It is a matter of admission, admitted. Not even just by the Harold Smith that many have heard of, but there's a Sir Peter Smithers, who was the architect of the federal structure. He was a member, by his own introduction, he was a member of a free-man mission that was appointed by the British government to set up the federal structures, not just in Nigeria, the Federation of Southeast Asia, the Federation of the West Indies. These were the federal structures that were put together. Intelligent design. The elections, the independence elections, were rigged by the British to produce the outcome. And the legacy has followed ever since. Touching on the military, I heard the points and I was smiling to myself, because one of the things, you may have come across it, in 1921, I touched on it in my book, there was a report by the British on the constitution, the ideal shape of the army in Nigeria. And it's quite right, it was essentially the British army then, but the Nigerian troops. And a conscious decision was made to exclude certain ethnic groups from the army on the theory that they would not make good soldiers. They only would not make good soldiers because they were the educated natives. And the educated natives were causing trouble for the British hold on the territory. So the devil is always in the detail of these things. Then lastly, as regards what is the definition of an ethnic group or nation? Of course, the Yoruba, I would never mix the tribes of the Yoruba. There are 22 in total. 22 tribes of the Yoruba nation, not a tribe, a nation. And my group, the Ikale, are one of the smallest of the 22. So I'm very conscious about the distinction between tribe and nation. In fact, it is the failure to make that important distinction that has led us into a lot of the problems that we encounter now. We oversimplify the challenge that we face. The Welsh, population of how many? 1.2 million. They are a nation, not a tribe. The Scots are 5 million. They are a nation. Iceland, that we played in the World Cup recently, 400,000 people. They are a nation. Yet the Igbos at 45 million are a tribe. The Yoruba at 60-something million are a tribe. The Hausa at 70+ million are a tribe. This is the abracadabra of language that helps to confuse the situation and makes the challenge of managing that crazy diversity, and it is a crazy diversity.
That's something there's a lot to talk about there.